We have some ancient fairy for you. Of course, somebody had to cook up with Skull Servants, and it also appears the Metalmorph is in full swing along with some other cool decks. Make sure you guys smash the link and crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. One of the things I wanted to show off today was, since we have hit week 0 of Duelist Advance out here, and you've got people that want to test all these cards, they got the chance to start to put together some of these lists. I wanted to showcase some of the creations that duelists are throwing around out here and seeing what they're capable of doing. Now, the new Ancient Fairy Life Dragon is pretty good. It lets you draw one, or if the field spell is on the field, you get the ability to tutor for a light particular monster, or the Eternal Sunshine, which Eternal Sunshine out here gives everything the 500 boost for each Ancient Fairy Dragon, and a monster that mentions it, that you control. And then once per chain, target one face monster your opponent controls till the end of this turn. Its current attack and defense become half, and their effects are negated. And you can only use the effect of this a number of times per turn up to the number of Ancient Fairy Dragons and monsters that mentions it. So typically, your game plan for this pile is you want to get an AFLD loaded up, and then you want to just start putting up all of these little guys right here, because all these little guys will be able to, I'm pretty sure they can all attack from defense mode. Yeah, it's your Ancient Fairy Dragon monsters and monsters that mention it can attack from defense mode. So if you got the Eternal Sunshine up and rolling here, these things are going to get 500 per, right? And you're going to start to notice a problem here. 4 monsters on the field is freaking a stupid amount. All right, this is a 2200 attacker. This is going to be 28. This is going to be 3K. You know, don't even get me started on this being 5300 at this point. And this is going to be 5. Like, you notice how you're closing out the game and you're starting on some massive swings. Yeah, that's what makes this deck really, really interesting. Also, Spider Coliseum just kind of give us a little extra defense boost here. Huh, that's kind of cool. All right, what else we got back here? This, I'm very surprised to see that we didn't get an inclusion of an extra deck down here. Because one of the cool things that Skull Servants is capable of doing is they can actually use their extra deck, man. Like, you do not have to play this deck in a sense as an extra deck list deck, because I think most people are going to look at this and go, oh, yeah, you're just King of the Skull Servants Turbo. You know, just dumb down a bunch of Skull Servants, commit the normal summon attack. It's all fun and games until you just get blown out by like Imperm or something like that. It's not everything that this deck is supposed to be doing. You have so much more. Now, we did get 2 cards here. The Mosia Knight. Okay, well, that's... I hate that name change. This card becomes Skull Servant while in the graveyard, and if normal or special, you can add a Skull Servant or a card that mentions it from your deck to your hand, except for a copy of it. It says, also, you can't special summon for the rest of the turn except for zombie monsters, which is not a problem. I think it's kind of why they were like, oh, we don't need an extra deck. And then, during your main phase, you can normal summon a level 4 lower zombie monster in addition to your normal summon set. Of course, you can only gain this effect once per turn. Basically, it's a free extender. It's the main thing I like about this guy, especially, you know, we'll get the big king on the field, right? Well, Moisia Knight gives you that extension, so you're able to do so. And then, of course, we got the White Master. This is one of the things that we have been clamoring about for so long, that we needed a way to like turbo out the Skull Servant stuff, get the deck going, and turn it into, you know, something that is. But if your Skull Servant, or excuse me, if your King of the Skull Servants attacks defense of a monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent, and then once per turn, we target a Skull Servant or a King of the Skull Servant in the graveyard, send a Skull Servant or a monster that mentions it from your deck to the graveyard, and you do specials on that target, and then once again, you can't special summon for the rest of the turn except for zombie monsters. That's not a problem. I'm telling you, that's not a problem. We got access to lots of zombie extra deck cards. All right, so Metalmorph. I want to be very clear and upfront with you here. I love this deck. All right, I've loved the Metalmorph monsters. I think that the big support here, this card is absolutely bonkers, in my opinion. But we did get something cool out of this. We got the Red Eyes Metal Claw Dragon. This lets you activate Metalmorph trap cards the turn that they're set. So you can actually set up the negate really easily turn 1 by using this. Also, this makes you lose to Metalmorph even harder, but that's time. Or that's fine. And then what is this? You can only use each of the following. So we can send a face of card, you control the graveyard, special summon this card from the hand. And on normal or special, and you have max Metalmorph in your graveyard, you can add a Metalmorph trap card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. I guess the cool thing here is, if you do end up yeeting this into the graveyard or something, or you do have this, this does give you a recursion line to get this pulled back up, which I do kind of value that. Recurable resources are very, very good in this game. And having access to the max Metalmorph pulled back is probably going to be a very important thing for you on the long haul. So I do greatly value this a lot. Maybe a little bit too much, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe this is the time where I look at this list and I'm like, maybe we do need to maximize more on the Metalmorph sector, because you want to make sure that these cards are going to get the job done. And typically they probably will. Trust me. As long as you're able to warp into the big guys, you should have no problem. Also, I think the ratios here are fine. It's not like you can't call it the Metal Flame Swordsman if you really need to get a sub-attacker up and running out here. Now, we've also got this little contraption. This piqued my interest. Now, there's really nothing new in this, but for all intents and purposes out here, Shark players are trying to innovate as much as everybody else out here. And I've seen so many disappointed faces out here because after the loss of Bahamut Shark, a lot of the Shark community was really upset. And like I said, I've been trying to see what they are doing. I do see that we are following this up with a Fiendsmith package in here, which I think some people are going to be a little bit disappointed, like, oh man, you're just soiling the deck. No, not really. You're just being smart about this. You're using the Fiendsmith stuff in order to capitalize and actually get some strong bodies on the field here. If you're one of the people that doesn't think that the Fiendsmith package is quote-unquote good in this deck, you're just going to get left behind. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And you have to understand, we live in a point right now in this format where you lost Bahamut Shark. So now you're going to have to look to other sub-engines out here as ways to kind of patch up the holes in the deck. It's time to get over it. It's time to move along and acknowledge that if you still want to play Sharks, you're going to have to rely on some sort of staple cards in order to do it. The deck is not bad right now. I repeat, this deck is not bad. All right, you just got to make concessions. I see we're also going with 777 Tachyon in here, which is fine. I think we've got all of our bases covered. Honestly, only one's Kraken spawn while we're going with 2 Stealth Kraken. I feel like that is okay. Most people just kind of forego this card anymore. If they're going to play it, it usually ends up being a one of, and you're good to go. Outside of that, I don't see anything else particularly wrong with this list. I think you've got all of your bases covered, and deck looks pretty solid. And our last list here is some Dragon Rulers. I have seen a lot of people trying to come up with the formula for Dragon Rulers. I think we're all going to agree that Spectre is the best Dragon Ruler printed. This card does so much. And of course, you're also going to be forced to play the Tenpai package. If you are like, I want to build pure Dragon, no, don't even waste your time. If you refuse to give the time and day to these guys right here, who are going to be the heart and soul of the deck, you are going to have a lot of problems. I also do see that we're playing Slothy Boy over here. All right, well, anytime a Morphage Sloth is going to show up, I just got to give it a shout out because I love this. All right, this card is super degenerate. All right, I too love the fact that neither player can add cards from the deck to the hand, but that's if you control on a Morphage monster. The thing we care about down here is neither player can special summon from the extra deck except for Morphage monsters. This is a classic at this point in time. We've actually got a home wrecker out here doing its job, but I think the way that this meta is kind of structured right now, it's doing fine. You've got a lot of cool ideas that we showed here, and depending on how Alliance Insight kind of shapes up out here, I think it's going to depend on how the rest of people are expecting the meta to go. But from where I'm sitting right now, I like what I see. I like that this meta is doing wonderfully. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.